You'll see how it got on at Brands, not Brands Hatch, it's Snetterton! Damn! We've been out on track, as you know, testing, and if you want to see how this got on at Brands Hatch, did it again! I did it again! Hi guys, welcome back to MK Sportscars. Well, we're here in the workshop at the moment and we're standing over the Cup 200 car. Well, do you know what? It's had a little bit of an outing and a little bit of a test day at Snetterton. Let's see how she got on. So if you put a 2 litre, 260 brake horsepower car engine next to a 1.3 litre, 200 horsepower bike engine, what do you think would be the fastest around the circuit? Well, we scoured the internet and we found a hot lap for Caterham R500. You might be surprised by the results. Right guys, here we are at Snetterton at the end of the day. It's been test session day. 2 cup cars going round. Cars are still going round, but it's very, very nearly end of day. Plenty of noise. John's still out in cup car number 2, still going round. We've been here all day testing these, putting fuel in them. They've burnt through about 120 litres of fuel today. We've monstered it, but yeah, a few little nuts and bolts to test, etc. And that's what we're here, that's what testing's all about. Run it through on the AO 48 tyres. We had a little test session on some R500s as well to see how they compared on lap times. pretty impressive results actually. We were into a very early 2 minutes now, like 2 minutes 3s, 2 minutes 4s generally, pretty consistent, which stands us in good stead for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday for race meeting, and I can't wait. Right, well, welcome back to the workshop. I hope you enjoyed some onboard footage there of the Cup 200 car. Had a fantastic test day. Both cars, well, the only thing they ate a lot of is tyres and fuel. Stonking machines. Now, if you want to know more about the Cup 200 range, then of course you can hook you up the details here for you on screen or here at MK Sportscars. Right, let's continue on in the workshop here. What we've got, the DAX, as you know, this has been prepped for IVA now. Got the Audi 1.2 engine in it. A couple of little tweaks left to do on this to get it for its IVA pass, but very, very minor details, etc. Just got a little bit of speedo calibration to sort out, which is in here, but it's different to some of the other stuff. So you have to buy lots of leads with the race technology stuff. Don't know why, but you do, to program modules and other things. So a little bit more trick, but that's basically all it needs now. And the old girl's ready to head off for a IVA test. Right, continuing on the IVA theme. Well, the yellow banana, as it's been aforementionedly known by Cameron here in the workshop, she's getting ready for IVA also. She's got a test date due, a couple of little things left to do, which is, if you're running the standard clocks or from a motorbike engine, which is an R1 or the booster, etc., a bit like the DAX, to calibrate the speedo, we use a little gadget. It's here, tucked on the ECU at the moment, a little speedo healer. This is a little digital gauge that allows us to program, depending on your gear ratios, tyre size, very simple bit of thing. You can actually do it on your mobile phone. It's that easy. It's a little app that gets downloaded. So that's all to do. Got one other thing, which is the emissions, which, if you saw the other week, we had another R1 car in here, 5E white, a white one, which passed its test first time. I'm sure Anna will throw a picture up there for you. So it's the same principle. They're generally okay to get through. A little bit of tweaking, use a power commander, which is easier when you put a power commander on these to do the adjust the fuel in on fuel injection. So yeah, she's pretty much buttoned up, ready to go now. It's all generally, you know, if you follow the guidelines and things that we do in the 60-point video, again, a 60-point video gives you some top tips on there on YouTube that we do for you and helps you get you through the IVA process. But yeah, she'll be ready. Next couple of weeks, she'll be heading off to Norwich. Right, another car that actually passed its IVA test. Well, a lot of IVA going on at the moment. It passed its test the other week. Is hashtag Ted's car. Been doing some post-IVA work on this, which we showed you the other week. One of them is the lovely rear diffuser. We changed also, he had the standard lights, so he wanted the LED light pack put onto this now. He's a bit of a change of heart from the standard light pack that's gone in there. Fire extinguisher system also gone in. That's been plumbed up, and the pull cord for that is, we've done it like we do similar to on the Cup car on the dashboard here, and also a race battery kill switch, which you wanted now put into it, and a new quick release boss, which we've put in. Then back panel here, instead of our normal, which we do the boot covers, as you know, chaps, we put the boot covers on, which is a preferred option to us. It's nice that he wanted a carbon sheet, which we've now made, and this carbon sheet is the final insert panel, which will go into there. We'll leave that down there for a second, because we're still doing some work. I mean, we've got to do a diff breather, because we've done all the anti-roll bars in here, diff breather, and the number plate light. It's just got to be fixed back in where we was fixing all the diffuser and changed all the LED light pack in there as well. So seats are in, 4-point harnesses are in, and we've gone with a nice roll cage mounted little carbon effect F1 style mirrors on the roll cage there as well. And interior, all of this has been done, buttoned up, etc., and then changed to the LED headlights. These are the halo ones that have the built-in side light here and indicator built in as well. So nice and tidy, super clean car, orange. Do you know, I always say this, but they ain't a bad colour. All these bright colours really suit these bike engine cars really well. So yeah, that's coming on really well. Just a couple of bits to do. Wants a dyno run on this, so we reach out to RLM Racing to do the dyno run on this. Just waiting for a date for that, and then we can get this off to Ted. Right, we're here with our little RX5 demo car. As you know, it's a little 1.8 Mazda engine in here. Stock, not turbo yet. But we've done a little few things ready for the winter, because you know it's coming. It's getting a little bit cold, like I said. So we've put a windscreen. I like an aero screen, but we put a windscreen on it. And we've put some padded inserts in here, which is a little bit better as it gets colder now if we're doing some test drives. And we will put the door pack on here. We're just waiting for the doors to be finished off and made. or a wind deflector, I'm not sure which yet, but either way. So if you want padded inserts or windscreens, obviously we do those. But again, the winter's coming, so we know we're going to do some test drives. We may get a little bit of drizzle, etc. You don't really want an aero screen. A windscreen will do the job way better. Right, another little project that's come in here. We've got an MK Indy. This is on a classic chassis. Got a little anti-roll bar that's done on this as well though. This had a Gixxer 1000 in it. Customer had a couple of issues with the engine. We're doing an engine swap out. So we've got the old one here now and the new one that's gone in, or new to them at least anyway. So had some issues with that one. And then we're putting in this one. We are removing the AccuSump system and all of that was on this. It had one of those fitted down here. I'll get that. This is a AccuSump. Now, they can work, and they do work, if it's plumbed in correctly and it's done right and you fill them up and you get the oil levels correctly. I think the issue with this one was possibly this wasn't installed correctly with the right oil levels, etc. And it had some oil starvation issues. So if you're running an AccuSump, probably my advice was don't bother, sort out the sump system and the oil system correctly, because that's a bit of a plaster. And you know what happens with plasters? They fall off. They always do, and it falls down. So they are known to work, I think, in certain V8s and American stuff and etc. But get yourself a proper either dry sump system or wet sump system that works in. Like the Cup car, we've developed an absolutely awesome, with RLM Racing, dry sump system on that, as well as a wet sump system. And they work, and there's lots of data on it, and we know it works. CBR 1000. Awesome sump system, and I think there's a couple of companies that we don't, unfortunately, banking for the Gixxer, but I know there's a couple of companies. If you do it right, it will survive for many, 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 many track laps, which is what you want. So otherwise you end up changing the engine out because you have some problems. So yeah, we've taken it all off, cracking on. Cameron's doing a great job, swapped out the engine, putting a new one in, clean it up as we went because they make a bit of a mess, and we'll have this fired up in no time. Right, here we are, something a little bit different that we've been building for a customer. It's a Westfield. Pretty obvious. It probably says it on the wheel badge there. In nice grey, etc. It's got a little 2 litre Z-Tech in here. Do you want to see under the bonnet? Should we have a look under the bonnet? Let's have a look under the bonnet. Here we go. It's got the FW bodywork, which we spoke about the other week. 2 litre Z-Tech in there. It's all running now nicely. On Omex throttle bodies and management. I don't believe they're making these throttle bodies anymore. But, you know, others are available. Others are available. So, yeah, she's got all her fluids in and all running nicely now. And we've buttoned up pretty much the front end now. The geo's been done, headlights have been on, the bracket's been done. LED lights that bolt into there. We made a nice little thing for this, actually, because if you run the standard bulb ones, H1s, not the LEDs, they come into 2 halves. And you could screw them into what's meant to be there behind, but they don't have that on the LED unit. It's a sealed unit, so we've had to make this, we actually got this cut. You can't quite see it, but just in there, there's another plastic, and that screws onto that, so they can screw the LED light onto it as well. So a nifty little fix, actually. So if you are building a Westfield and you're having problems mounting these LED lights, we can make you a little spacer. There we go. Here's one I made earlier. It's Blue Peter Special, this one. So yeah, this is basically it. It screws in from each side, and jobs are good. LED lights mounted. So yeah, she's on now. Seats in done, interiors in, harnesses are in, steering wheel on for IVA, dashboard's all buttoned up and all working. We've had to put in some switch gear, etc. on this one for the heated windscreen, etc. as well. That's all in. That wasn't in. That's not part of the dashboard makeup. It's very universal. We've got a crash pad that's got to be mounted down here and some side seals just to finish off the door trims in here, which will be one of the last things to do. And then on at the back, the little IVA protectors for your harnesses. If you're doing it, we do those as well. Then we do them on our website. Little protectors for covering up for your trim. Then the boot box to go in. Most of the other light packs all mounted and done. So yeah, she's nearly ready. And there'll be another one that will be heading off to IVA. Right, another Westfield that we're working on with a couple of little issues. We've fixed some of them. One of them, which seems to be a common problem with a Westfield, and we're trying to solve this one, which is this, that's a stub axle, labro, whichever way you want to call it, that goes into the diff. This slides into the diff. It seems to be that the seal, this part here, is leaking on the diff where it seals on this part of the labro. So there was 2 options. When you actually put this in, when it plays in here, it actually wobbles. You can see it moving. Whether that's a bearing or a seal issue, we're not quite sure because we tie it up to a standard. These are Mazda MX-5 Mark III, so it's the NC version, not Ford Sierra diff in this. And if you look at the two, there's two things that are different. I'll put it on here so we can hold it. The way it displaces the oil, these are much deeper. So this, when it's spinning, rotates, it pushes the oil back into the diff, if the diff was here. And these are much thinner, so it may be causing an issue, we're not sure yet. Got to do a bit more investigation, it may be it. But two, this part here, which is the Mark III, standard one, comes off a Mazda, and this one, they're about 1 mil difference. So the seals, we think, are not sealing correctly. So first option, cheapest option probably, make new seals. So we get new seals made that will plug in. We'll zoom in down here. It will plug in. It's a bit dark, but just in here, you probably can't quite see, but just in there, there's a diff seal. We put a new one in, but it does about 500 miles, starts leaking again. So we're going to get some new seals made. 1.5 millimetres smaller in diameter, and then we'll try that first. That's the cheapest fix, rather than making all new custom drive shafts and everything else, which is what we can be done, but that's very expensive. So let's try the seal. It's a quick and easy changeover, and hopefully, if that does solve the problem, all your other Westfield owners that got the same problem, it will fix it. Right, chassis production, a few more have landed. We've got a couple more upstairs as well, actually, on the mez there, that have come in as well. But if you want to get yourself in a queue, you know, hook us up on a phone call and email. Get ready for that winter project, because it's coming round. Get yourself in that build queue, get it built, get out ready for next summer and get out on the road or track. Well, the chassis register is going to be up on that side this week, guys. Right, yes, well, another super busy week here in the MK Sportscars workshop. Now, if you was at our open day a couple of weeks ago, and that was amazingly busy, and you want to come down and see us here again in the workshop, you're welcome to visit anytime. Now, this was the Cup200 car was test day. If you want to see how that got on at Snetterton, then you'll have to tune in next week. Right, well, the final event of the year will be the 4th and 5th of November at MSD Live, where you'll get to see the Cup car. If you want to come along there at the Silverstone International Circuit, you can head over. There's lots of other manufacturers there as well, but the Cup car is still the show, hopefully. So that's it for another week. Like, share, subscribe. Guess what? Catch you next week.